I can read that.
All right, buddy, we're back.
Hey, welcome.
It's a great Halloween of 2022, and it's time to do what we do best as old people and reminisce. I'm looking back at the
The names have
Halloweens of
been
the
changed to protect the innocent.
Oh, there were no innocent. I'm looking back at the Halloweens of the late 60s, 70s, 80s, you know, when we were actually.
Today, what are we selling, hits or something?
Oh, yeah. Well, we all know that, you know, the oldies are better.
Yeah, no, our music's coming back. It really surprises me. My son listens to a whole ton of my music, which really blows me away.
I'm going to hook you up with a really good YouTube channel later, all about nostalgic music. And it's not just playing music. This guy gives you the insights. He interviews all the musicians and stuff, frontmen. He gets all the last one I saw. He did he did a deep dive into Jesse's Girl with an interview with Rick Springfield. So yeah, those were the good days, you know, when you could actually dress up and go out for Halloween and not have to worry about getting kidnapped or shot at.
Yeah, I want to say I was probably like maybe 11 or so. Maybe
when you
10.
stopped going?
No, when we switched over to more of a plasticky, out of a package costume. Because I remember before that, my mom got pretty creative making Halloween costumes, and it was something my sister was into too. You know, she like, you know, hey, let's do this. You know, Matt, come here. Oh, all right. But she was actually pretty good. She made me look pretty good a lot of the times, I remember.
That was one of the questions I wanted to ask at the beginning of this is, can you remember how far back can you remember your Halloween costume?
Of what they were? No, I don't.
Yeah, what's the earliest one that you remember wearing?
I mean, we used to do like a little bonfire on Halloween at my house, or the day before. On Mischief Night, we did one for a while when I was really young. You know, invite the neighborhood kids and, you know, whatever, cookouts, and then that's right. It was the day before Halloween. It wasn't Halloween day.
Okay.
And but anyway, yeah, you know, I don't. You know, scarecrows and stuff like that were pretty common. I remember a couple of times. I got lazy and was a ghost, you know, whatever, stuff like that before.
You remember the costumes that were fabric, but they had plastic masks?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember
I've had
the earliest memory I have of a Halloween costume was either in kindergarten or first grade, and I was Mighty Mouse with the plastic Mighty Mouse mask and the cloth onesie with the cape on the back.
Yeah, because all you had was the face that was plastic. The rest was the costume.
Right. That's my earliest memory.
Yeah, your parents actually spent a couple of bucks.
I loved
it. Got you a decent costume. Wow. Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't have vivid memories of young me at Halloween. I mean, I remember some of the things we used to do, but I don't necessarily remember the costumes that I had.
Oh, okay, let me ask you this: when you went around for trick or treating, who usually went with you?
We'd start off with neighborhood kids or neighborhood kids, because there was quite a few that I hung out with. And then my older siblings, they had an older group of kids that they hung out with. But yeah, there was 8 to 10 of us easily, maybe more, you know. And then as it got later and later, you'd have fewer and fewer kids be with you.
Do you ever remember going around with your parents?
Oh, wow. No, I think I went around with my brothers and sisters when I was really young. And then when it got late, I know that they would go further. They'd go out to Prospect Heights. You know, they'd come back at 11 o'clock at night with, you know, 3 pillowcases full of candy. You know?
Well, we had more candy. I remember going around with my parents, And then as we got older, I believe, like my cousins would come up to visit and they would take us around.
Mm-hmm.
Or one of my cousins was in SUNY Law.
We walked. We started from my house.
Oh yeah, we walked. They walked with us.
Mm-hmm.
We just walked around the block. We went down Jefferson, down Grant. Oh, was it down Jefferson?
Dude, we do Hampton Manor. We do Sherwood Ave. Oh yeah, I was on Hillview Ave. I was like right at the top of the hill in Rensselaer. So we covered some miles, man.
We did Woodland Park, and there were dozens and dozens of kids on the street.
Oh yeah, you had a nice, huge area you could hit. Phillips Road area, right? Is that
right?
Yeah.
And because we lived right by the park, everybody was situated right close by.
Oh, okay. On the near Autovision, you mean, or?
Well, our house was behind Autovision, but around the block from us was the Woodland Park, the actual park.
Yeah, I remember that.
The tennis courts and everything. Yeah. And we used to go down there and have clam bakes and stuff during the summer.
Oh, that's cool.
For the community and shit.
But what about for Halloween?
Halloween, we would just hit every house, and every house, people would be actually waiting at the door or waiting outside.
Yeah. I actually missed the candy apples and stuff like that. You know, that some of the neighbors around us, I mean, they were good. It was all homemade caramel. It wasn't that crap you bought on a sheet and wrapped it out. You know, no. This was the good stuff. I've never been into anything funky. I mean, you know, that's just
you know what I was happy to get is people got, when we were young, people got sandwich bags and they'd fill them like 3/4 of the way with popcorn and then tie them up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Throw them in your bag.
I've even gotten the kind that were on sticks and they had caramel and, you know, whatever, stuff like that. I like those. But I really knew my neighbors though, too. You know,
they throw change into your bag.
Yeah, well, not necessarily into the bag, but I'd get some of these old people knew how to really tie it really well. You know, because maybe I don't know, for taking the subways and stuff like that, you'd have the perfect change. Anyway, we'd get a lot of those where they just throw in a wrapped amount of money, so they might have pre-wrapped it so every kid got the same amount or something like that. Maybe
right.
They did it. You know,
right.
And I bet you these people saved up change from the rest of the year, and that's what they used on Halloween, the ones that gave away money.
But we would literally have to fight for doors. We would literally have to fight for doors. It'd be like, okay, wait, they're almost gone. Okay, now run. Hit the door before somebody else gets it.
Right.
You know, and now you go out and there's nothing, at least around here.
Well, I do remember, though, a lot more homemade things when I was really young. You know, a lot less or full size, you know, candy bars, not the bite size ones.
Yes.
But I mean, still, I just remember at one point, I remember hearing stories that made the news of a kid who bit into a razor blade or otherwise laced candy. So you know, you stopped taking certain candies, anything wrapped or whatever, you stopped taking. And it's like, that really bummed me out because there were some cool people. I mean, on my street, they would never do anything like that.
No.
And it bothered me that. I know, yeah. But there's that.
And the funny thing is, back then, people would dress up. Mm-hmm. Like you would go knock on somebody's door.
Oh yeah, like parents or homeowners and things like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Now they can't even be bothered. It's like, yeah, just take the candy and go.
Well, I bet you what that was too is even adults back then would have adult Halloween parties after kids were finished with trick or treating and in bed. My parents had a few of those before. I don't know if they ever dressed up in costume or anything like that, but I know that there were a few occasions, depending upon what day of the week Halloween fell, that we had, you know, some type of party or whatever once the kids were gone.
See, when my kids were really little, 30 years ago, I used to dress up to answer the door. I used to dress up to take them out because it gave them, you know.
What's your excuse now?
I just can't get the mask off.
It's stuck.
I'm going as a gray Grizzly Adams.
Yeah, right. I'm not far from you, dude. So,
but Yeah, well, see, that's the thing. I remember getting the caramel apples. The candy apples I really liked too.
I did, because especially when you could tell they were homemade because of the flavor in them. It was so good. And,
right, and there would be, you would get like a little sandwich bag filled with like candy corn. And
I hated candy corn though. I hated.
Really?
I still do. I hate candy corn with a fucking passion. Oh my god.
I used to love candy corn.
Disgusting. Oh, I'd eat them, but they were the last thing.
You know what I hated the most? Two things I hated the most was Peeps and circus peanuts.
Circus peanuts. With the peanuts still in the shell.
No. It was candy, and it was orange. It was an orange piece of candy shaped like a peanut, about. Big.
Yeah. Those marshmallowy things. Yeah, because you get those around Christmas time as well.
Oh man,
those were bad. But I don't know. For the most part, man, I wound up eating a good percentage of the items that I got.
When you went out with your brothers and your friends, do you have to ever have to worry about?
My sister, I would go, and her friends, I'd go with a lot. Actually, me, that's probably if my friends of my age group did their own thing, like they used to, get in a car and go somewhere. I wind up with my sister and all her girlfriends when I'd go out trick or treating. But it was fun hanging out with them.
Now, did you ever have to worry about somebody not coming home?
Mm-mm. Thought never occurred. You mean like as in hurt or otherwise something happened to? No, thought never occurred to me. Never occurred. I never had that thought in my mind as a child. Never. And I mean, I was worried about strange people and things. I kind of knew better and blah blah blah. Right. But I mean, I wasn't so afraid of somebody that I couldn't. I'll be back in a few hours. Bye. That was how that was.
Unless you see someone who actually appears weird, it didn't.
We'd ride our bikes to Castleton down 9J. We'd start off down at the old railroad tracks. They're not, well, now it's built up again, but back in the day, it was just stones. Used to be a railroad track. They dug it up and never did anything with it. But anyway, we'd take that down to a certain point and then wind up on 9J and go right all the way to Castleton for something to do. It'd be 10 of us,
On Halloween?
Yeah. No, just in general. I mean, that's how far away we would go and not worry about anything.
Oh yeah, I used to hitchhike all over the place.
Take the bus into Albany,
As a teenager, I hitchhiked up to SPAC in Saratoga.
Oh yeah, me too. I've done that. Yep.
And
that's funny. I met my first wife at SPAC after hitchhiking up to the concert.
Now,
she became my ride home.
But now, if you let your kids trick or treat, they don't do it before sundown or after sundown, and they definitely don't do it alone. Parents nowadays, it's like, and rightfully so. I mean, the climate has changed so much that you can't even go to the grocery store without worrying about, I've seen so many cases of kids getting snatched right out of a shopping cart.
Oh, yeah.
And we never had these issues.
No, I bet you it happened, but it just wasn't. Somebody else would find you and say, "Hey, did you mean to leave your kid here? I found your kid." Because I remember being brought back to my parents at various times. Wandering.
Yeah, but I'm talking about somebody leading you away from your parents.
No, I know, but that's what I mean. It wasn't an issue when I was a kid. People would do the responsible thing and realize that, oh yeah, I recognize this. Oh, here she is. There's mom. And bring the kid back over to mom. That was a normal thing. I grew up that way. So therefore I do that now. I see somebody needing something, but I know we're getting away from Halloween again.
I was born in Brooklyn, and we would go down to Coney Island. And one time we were at Coney Island, I walked away from my family. And my parents were in a panic.
I'd be in a panic at Coney Island.
I know the story well because my mother and father told it to me time and time again, that they went looking all over. They eventually found me sitting with a couple who had just given me an ice cream cone, and we were just chilling because they had ice cream.
That's cool.
Cool.
I've had strange situations where I've met people like that.
I didn't have to worry
where my
about
parents weren't far away.
I didn't have to worry about not coming home, or my parents didn't have to worry about, me disappearing for life.
East Greenwich, we never locked our doors. Our doors were open.
My father,
I never
to
had
the
to
day
worry
he
about
died,
keys
never
in the
locked his
car.
front door.
No, when I lived in Maine, there were many times I didn't lock my door at all. But I mean, I had a large chunk of land and dogs, and
Well,
yeah,
my father never locked his door, even to up to the day he died. The front door was always open.
that's cool.
You
It's
know,
cool to have that.
well, there was
sense
there
of
was a
peace.
period. There was a period where we did lock the door because somebody broke into the house at one point. And what had happened was we had gone away on a day trip or something, and the front and back doors were locked. And when we came home, somebody had kicked in the back door.
Yeah, we had somebody kill some
So-
of our animals that way. Yeah,
So what we did was we locked the door for a while, and then we just locked the back door and left the front door open.
wow.
Yeah, because that's the times we lived in. And now, if you send your kids out trick or treating, even if you go with them, the minute they come home, first thing that a parent does is what? Let me see all
Inspect
the candy. Yep, exactly. And
But with the kid, they got their spidey sense on. They've got their wits about them. The parents, their heads on a swivel. I can see it now. I look at the parents when kids come to the door sometimes just because I'm curious, But parents are watching.
when my kids were little, and I would go with them. I would go. We would go to the people we know and go. I knew what they were getting. I knew that it wasn't some strange guy who just moved in who's giving the kids blacked out candy or something. Here, take these pills that look like Smarties. They'll be good for you.
Right.
No.
Oof.
Yeah, no, I never had to worry about that. I would always take my
I
kids.
heard stories of it happening, but it was usually
but see,
in
that's-
Albany, Colony, Schenectady, big.
Well, see, that's
places.
the thing. I found out that it was all stories. There's never actually been a substantiated case.
Oh, really? It was just legend, huh? Huh.
Yeah, exactly.
Urban legend stuff. Interesting. I'm not surprised. You have to get it's Halloween. You have to create a story. Yeah, I get that.
And the way I see it now, I mean, parents, have you seen kids
Maybe
going
some
around
parents were
trick-or-treating?
pissed off about that somehow too. I can't believe people. You too cheap to buy my kid a candy bar. Situation.
Have you? Well, I believe the first myth or urban legend about it was a razor blade found in a candy apple,
I remember stories like that.
and then it just variated from there.
Yeah, and that would have been in the either very, very late 60s, because that would have been 4, and then 5 in 1970s. So yeah, I bet you somewhere around there where I can still remember pretty clearly that razor blade thing. I remember it was big time on the news. People talked about it well after Halloween, even into the next Halloween and so on. That was a big topic of conversation. But I still never had my parents go with me anytime I went out for Halloween.
Another
Not
difference
that
I
I remember
noticed.
anyway.
Now, another difference I noticed about now is kids around here, once they hit like 8 years old, they basically stop dressing up and just go around to ask for candy.
I don't really see that. I've seen that once or twice here, and I give them a hard time for it. But that's
Or
it.
they'll
The
do the
teenagers
bare
here
minimum.
no, I haven't seen that. I've seen some pretty good effort in the kids in my neighborhood.
They
which is
do
pretty
the
cool.
bare minimum, like get a white T-shirt, write some crap on it, and go, look, this is my costume.
Oh hell, my old roommate did. She looked like Venom. She did a Venom costume herself. I watched her. Holy crap! All makeup and stuff like that. She did it herself. I don't know
But it's
where
just-
she got the
it's just-
idea from, but that was cool. She's 20 plus years old and did a Venom costume just because.
Well,
thought
like
that
I
was
said,
freaking
it just seems like the generation that grew up really enjoying Halloween
awesome.
has raised a generation of people who don't give a shit.
Well,
You know,
no, they've just they don't give it. It's not that they don't give a shit. It's commercialized. There has to be an event. There has to be a giveaway. There's got to be a gimmick of some sort. Christmas is definitely like that. Easter's for sure like that.
Well,
And we're working on the other holidays now too.
My oldest son, he doesn't decorate for Halloween every year.
I don't.
Instead, he goes to some commercialized amusement park, scary house bullshit thing every year.
There's one down here that comes with a health warning. You have to sign a waiver.
And it's like, why bother? I mean, if you really don't want to put the effort in, you'd rather pay money to walk through somebody else's shit than
something like that. If you're into the whole Halloween aspect, I could see somebody wanting to go through something like that instead of doing it themselves. Yeah,
I could see doing that as a bonus. Like when we used to go for the haunted hay.
Yeah, but if you're not going to be home Halloween, that's the only day it's really, I suppose people could appreciate your Halloween art, but you're not home to greet them.
Well, it's the same thing with stores nowadays. Stores nowadays, they I remember they used to, when my kids were growing up, they used to give you candy on Halloween or the day before. That you go around the stores to the different departments and get candy. Now they don't do that. Now it's like with COVID and everything else, it's like, nobody's coming to their door. Nobody wants to go out. And it just I hate to say this because I sound like an old idiot.
The trunk or treat too, yeah. They do that here.
I don't know what that is. They
go to church parking lots, Walmart parking lots, things like that, where a whole bunch of people get together and they do trick or treat basically out of the trunk of your car. But it's daylight, it's not at night. It's right when the kids get out of school.
Isn't that more sketchy than anything?
Well, you go with a lot of people
like
you know.
Candy for kids?
No, you set it up you organize it through people you know, like through the area you live or whatever. But that's really big down here. It's advertised everywhere I see it. My
grandson just went to one, and my daughter took a picture of him in the back of somebody's trunk with the trunk open. And I'm like, what the hell? And she said trunk or treat. And I'm like, what the hell is that? Don't people go around the houses anymore?
No. Yeah, I
hate to say this. Maybe it makes me sound old.
Well, it takes away from the contact. It takes away from the experience of meeting people too. Getting out in your community, people know who you are. I mean, that's another additional bonus of Halloween. But that's all gone now.
We used to love going to the old friends of my parents' house.
Yeah, turn your lights off and don't answer the door if you don't want to participate. Usually if your lights are off, no one's going to come to your door. When I run out of candy, that's what I do, and they go to the next house. So, but that's what I mean. I think we should still keep that tradition because it keeps us all, kind of connected. Keeps us socialized.
Right. I hate to say this because it makes you sound old, but I actually get sad when I look at the state of holidays in the 2020s.
Right. They advertise for Christmas now before Thanksgiving even comes. That's how it is here. I've already seen Christmas ads and we are barely up in Halloween. Yeah. Some people don't even take their lights down anymore. Their Christmas lights stay on the house here all year long.
Oh yeah, if I could, I would, but I
wouldn't take them down. It's damage to your house.
Too much work.
I can't do that. Is it time, my friend?
It is, my friend. We are out of time. But one thing I wanted to ask you before we go.
Uh-oh.
You grew up in the not so nice area of town.
Where?
Let me finish.
I don't want to be insulted. You're about to insult me.
Gotta remember, I grew up the hill, up by Phillips Road. Mm-hmm. Everyone down by Hampton Manor and stuff were like a little bit of rougher group.
Yeah, maybe a rougher group.
Now, when you were growing up like that, did you participate in Mischief Night?
I can confirm nor deny that.
I was going to say,
locally only. Only locally. Right. I didn't get involved with other areas that sometimes people I knew would get other branches of our area involved. I never participated in that kind of stuff. Did you freeze up on me, man? Yep, you did. Where'd you go, Lou? Okay, tick tick. We're waiting on Lou to come back. As we are still here, live, Lou. Yeah, so we definitely had fun on Mischief Night. Oh, Lou, you're hilarious, man. Okay. I'm hoping Lou's going to be back anytime now, because he's done this to me before. Thanks, Lou. I appreciate it a lot. Because we were just about done with this segment, so it was wrapped up, I'd say, about 4 or 5. Here he comes. We were done about 4 or 5 minutes ago.
Yeah, well, sometimes things happen.
They do.
I guess it was talking about Mischief Night just got all the boogies out and they just screwed up my computer.
I guess.
But I was just kind of curious. When you went around and did your stuff for Mischief Night, it was all pretty much basically victimless pranks, right?
Yeah, I think we got carried away sometimes. We definitely did more vandalism too. Well, not all of us. I should say, like there was one time we were throwing tomatoes, I think, at cars, or maybe, yeah, tomatoes, I think it was. Anyway, we ran out, so one guy picked up rocks and started throwing.
Oh yeah, no, that's bad.
No, hang on. Before we had a chance to stop him, is when that we only knew because we heard a window break, and we heard wheels squeak and all that, and that's
all
when we
hightailed it
found
out of there.
Yeah, I walked face first into a no parking sign. I turned around full speed into a no parking sign. Anyway, he got his comeuppance after that, because we don't. That's not. It was bad enough what we were doing, but you don't do that. Somebody could have been, seriously hurt.
Right.
But we did stuff that was stupid.
You have to, or else you're not a kid. All right, so that concludes another amazing episode. And I will see you in the future, or the past, or your dreams, whichever.
No.
Nightmares?
No. When my eyes are closed, you are one I do not see. Just saying.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, be good, man.
Later, people.